What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for stopping by to Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly ask for you guys' thoughts as you guys are the MMA community. Welcome to the new studio. A little bit of a mix between my office and recording studio, so hopefully you guys like it. Let me know how you like the new look in the comment section down below. But I'm finally happy to be posting on the channel again. We took a little break, we were getting ready for competition. I might show you guys a little bit about the preparation. Let me know exactly what you guys would like to see, but I competed over the weekend in a couple of tournaments, so getting ready for that and everything. I haven't been able to post any videos, but today we are going to be covering the topic of UFC 306 in Sean O'Malley versus Merab. Is it actually gonna happen? I mean, we've been seeing a lot of things saying that the main event might get canceled. We also have Belal Muhammads struggling to find his next opponent, even though he was talking about being an active champion, and Shavkat Usman calling him out about that. We have a new fight for Brandon Moreno just got announced for later this year. And then we also have the question of if Dana White is actually trying to see Khamzat Chimaev win by giving him this fight against Robert Whittaker, and a couple of changes to that fight and also that fight card that has the MMA community wondering. And last but definitely not least, we will get into Dustin Poirier's last fight as an MMA fighter, as a UFC fighter, who his opponent will be, given all the rumors, and maybe how that fight might play out. So guys, thank you for tuning into the channel. If you would like to support the content, please give this video a thumbs up. It takes a millisecond of your time and it helps me a lot. Also, as this video is going along, go ahead and comment down below your thoughts as you watch along the video, and you're more than welcome to subscribe for more content like this one. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. So guys, before discussing all of these topics, I will say congratulations to Michael Aswell from the Contender Series. For those of you guys who don't know, he had a very close fight on the Contender Series, and Dana White is giving both him and his opponent a contract after receiving the first ever bonus on the Contender Series for being one of the most exciting fights he's ever seen on the Contender Series. And given that fact, we actually ended up interviewing him before his fight on the Contender Series, got his mindset, delved into his attitude a little bit and his come up and his story. And if you guys want to see that video, go ahead and check out the Will versus the Way podcast, where me and my boy Terrence interview all the best MMA fighters coming up. Guys like Terrence McKinney, Hurricane Ike Villanueva, Michael Aswell, and much more to come. And then also, if you guys have not seen my latest breakdown of Dricus du Plessis' awkward style, I gave you guys a complete breakdown, and that was a little bit of a hint of showing what is to come on this channel. I plan on having some membership opportunities for you guys who like to go into more technique videos and breakdowns and want to learn how to fight like some of these fighters, or just become a better fighter yourself, getting sneak peeks into my journey and whatnot. All of that will be coming to the channel soon, so stay tuned. Let me know what you guys want and I'll be sure to get that done for you. Now first, we're going to talk about UFC 306. Is Merab and Sean O'Malley actually going to happen? I mean, we have Dana White calling Merab amazingly stupid, talking about how he was showing his cutoff to Instagram, and now we see videos of him pulling the stitches out himself, looking like he pulled them out a little early. And Merab's a crazy guy, we all know this, and we can assume that even if he is injured, he probably will show up to fight. But why is he showing all this to the media? Is it a built-in excuse? Is it a warning that if this doesn't get better, I'm not going to take the fight? Is this fight actually going to happen? I mean, there's been so much money being put into this event, as per Dana White, to promote the Sphere, to promote Nocha UFC and Sean O'Malley. And this is one of the most anticipated fights of the latter end of the year. With that being said, with so much in question for this fight, of it being 2 weeks away, I feel like all we can do is just pray that both fighters make it there, both fighters make it healthy, and we get the awesome fight that we're being promised, right? Speaking on Sean O'Malley and his reign and his next fight against Merab, stay tuned for the next video, because the next video is going to be the ultimate breakdown of Sean O'Malley versus Merab. So moving on to Belal Muhammad and his title reign, people are wondering if Dana White is wanting Belal Muhammad's title reign to be as short as possible. And the reason people are wondering this is because people doubted if they even wanted Belal to become champion or have his opportunity in the first place, given the fact that he had to go, 9-10 fights unbeaten in order to even get a title shot, given the fact that he doesn't really talk that much, except for these last year and a half that he's been finally promoting himself, and given the fact that he doesn't really have many finishes. I think he has one finish in his UFC tenure. And so yeah, we all know he's not the exciting cash cow that maybe Leon Edwards or Kamaru Usman was to the welterweight division for the UFC. And it almost reminds me of the Aljamain Sterling situation, because we remember how Aljamain Sterling was kind of forced out of his position, right? He had that whole weird saga with Petr Yan, never ended up getting his respect for actually beating Petr Yan by unanimous decision. Went on to fight TJ Dillashaw, beat him, finish him, beat Henry Cejudo, and never really got his flowers. And in the midst of being so active, even through neck surgery and being through getting kneed in the head illegally and all these title defenses, was rushed into the Sean O'Malley fight. And we saw a little bit of that even on the documentary, that they literally rushed this man to the title shot. Not Sean O'Malley, but Aljamain Sterling. They incentivized him with money and the hype and how, this fight's going to be super big if you do it now, but if you wait, it'll be smaller and whatnot. But they rushed him. And we all know he was cutting a lot of weight. We know he was wanting to go on vacation, wasn't really mentally ready, and you could call all of these excuses, or you could call all of these reasons for why he lost against Sean O'Malley, but it seemed like they were trying to give Sean O'Malley a little bit of an advantage over Aljamain Sterling by making Aljo fight back to back to back. Is this what they're kind of trying to do with Belal Muhammad? Now, the reason I'm asking this is because Belal's next opponent is supposed to be Shavkat Rakhmonov or Kamaru Usman. They've been talking about both of them. However, Shavkat Rakhmonov said that he was offered a title shot against Belal Muhammad for UFC 307. And granted, I think that that's way too soon. And Belal did too, that's why he didn't accept it. And here we are. UFC 307 would have been 2-3 months after his win over Leon Edwards. I mean, he's not Alex Pereira, he just won the belt. And yes, he said he was going to be an active champion, but let him soak in, right? That's let him go on his tour, let him sit as champion for a while. I always like champions to be able to sit, soak it in, and have the proper preparation for their next title defense. I feel like the champion should never be getting rushed into a fight, no matter who they are. Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, those are all anomalies to how champions have fought in the past. Those are the most active champions we've ever seen in the UFC. Most champions fight 1 to 2 times a year, and they have full preparation for either their opponent or their set fight date, right? So I think being offered at UFC 307 Salt Lake City is too early, and now Shavkat's trying to put the pressure on him. However, I don't know who deserves it more, Shavkat Rakhmonov or Kamaru Usman, because Kamaru Usman has also been slated that he might be the next title defense for Belal Muhammad, even though there has been rumors flying around that he might fight JDM at UFC 309. What do you guys think about that? Do y'all think that Belal should be fighting Shavkat or Usman next? Belal said that maybe both of them should fight for the #1 contendership, jokingly, but maybe seriously. To be honest, I think Usman does deserve something big after taking that Khamzat fight on short notice and, damn near beating him. I mean, let's be honest, that fight was a draw. It was not a win by Khamzat Chimaev. The first round was a 10-8. The next 2 rounds, Usman won, I thought, pretty handily. And another judge also thought that, but it is what it is. They gave Khamzat the win. I just think 10 days notice, and a lot of people wanted to see that go 5 rounds. And thought that if it was 5 rounds, Usman would have won. I mean, I think you reward him with something big, and it's not like him and Belal have ever fought before. But I wouldn't be opposed to watching a Shavkat versus Usman for the #1 contendership, or a JDM versus Usman for #1 contendership as well. I also wouldn't be opposed to JDM versus Shavkat. But let me know what you guys think about that. Who should Belal be fighting next? What are the next fights to make in order to serve up the next #1 contender for Belal Muhammad? Moving on, and while talking about Khamzat Chimaev, is Dana White trying to save Khamzat Chimaev? I mean, UFC 308, that's when him and Robert Whittaker are slated to fight. Him and Robert Whittaker have been scheduled to fight 3 times now, right? He's had to pull out twice now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Robert Whittaker had to fight Ikram Aliskerov. He was told that that was the #1 contendership fight, but now Sean Strickland is the #1 contender and he's fighting for the title next. I mean, we had this whole mess at middleweight, and now Robert Whittaker's doing what Robert Whittaker has had to do, and he's gatekeeping the top 5 by fighting Khamzat Chimaev. However, this is supposed to be a co-main event at UFC 308 and it's supposed to be 5 rounds. It is now not co-main event and it is now 3 rounds for Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. We all have questions about Khamzat Chimaev's gas tank, not only based off the Usman fight, but based off the Burns fight as well, and just his style, how he comes out so fast, and is it sustainable? We have so many questions about, can Khamzat Chimaev go 5 rounds, and usually Dana likes to answer those questions before they fight for the title, but this is a #1 contendership fight between Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev, and Chimaev's never been tested to go 5 rounds. How does that work? How many contenders do we see in main events at a fight night and have to go 5 rounds in order to prove themselves? Similar to like a Cal Barallo just fought Jerry Cannonier all 5 rounds, right? Shouldn't they be tested? And so this is why I'm asking or begging the question of if the UFC is trying to coddle Khamzat Chimaev, or are they trying to make sure that he actually makes it to the fight, doesn't overwork himself for the 5 rounds, because he's been known to not be able to make it to the fight. The more weight you cut or the more output you do in your training camp, the lower your immune system gets. He's had immunity problems in the past. Are they just trying to get him to the fight, or are they trying to get him to a fight that they think that he could win? Because Khamzat Chimaev is definitely more marketable than a Robert Whittaker, getting his 4th crack at the title. The new co-main event is Alexander Volkov versus Cyril Gane, which is a fight again I don't understand, because Cyril Gane already beat him less than 3 fights ago. But I guess Volkov beating Pavlovich makes this a #1 contender fight for the heavyweights, even though there's 2 champions, and that's not going to get solved because Tom Aspinall just beat Blades and is calling for John Jones. John Jones is fighting Stipe, and we had this whole mess at heavyweight. We have this whole mess in a lot of these divisions. I don't know how that's going to pan out. But yeah, Volkov Gane, co-main event. Robert Whittaker, Khamzat, not co-main event. We move on to Moreno versus Amir Albazi, scheduled for UFC 309 in November. Now, this is slated to be around the same time that they were talking about Usman and JDM, like we just talked about, Jack Della Maddalena. And I think that the flyweight division has a problem. They have a problem in that they don't have a real #1 contender. They have a situation to where the champion in Pantoja has beaten all the people who are going to be decided for #1 contendership. So we just had Steve Erceg versus Kai Kara France for a #1 contendership. However, Pantoja's already beaten both of them, and Kai Kara France just lost his last 2 fights to Brandon Moreno and to Amir Albazi. A lot of people are thinking that he beat Amir Albazi, but I watched it without commentary live, and while going for Kai Kara France and wanting him to win, I didn't see that he did enough. I thought Amir Albazi won it pretty clearly, and wasn't surprised at all that the judges gave it to him until after I was listening to the commentary and how biased Michael Bisping was being, and just this whole mess. This is why they say don't listen to the commentary while you watch fights if you actually want to score it correctly. And this is why they don't let the judges listen to the commentary, because then you get these whole narratives, right? So I think that if Amir Albazi, one of the only fighters who hasn't fought Alexandre Pantoja, beats Brandon Moreno, former champion who has also lost to Pantoja 3 times, then he should get a title shot over Kai Kara France. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys think about the flyweight division? Should Kai get the next title shot? Who should Pantoja fight next? At the end of the day, I think it's the person who's going to sell more, which is probably Kai Kara France. But if you put Pantoja on a fight card with, say, Alex Pereira or another Brazilian champion, or even just a Brazilian big name like Charles Oliveira, that's how you promote that division better, right? Anyways, let me know your comments and thoughts down below as we move on to maybe the most interesting part of this video. Now, Dustin Poirier is coming off of his fight against Islam Makhachev in one of the best fights of the year, to be honest. One of the best fights we've ever seen. Islam Makhachev in. I mean, he was tested. He battled through adversity. He came into that fight with staph infection. He fought through everything. Dustin Poirier made him fight through everything. Dustin Poirier looked really good. I mean, he's coming off of what might be his last title shot opportunity, and he said uno mas, one more fight, right? He's tweeted that multiple times now. And some people were thinking, oh, well, he still has to complete the quadrilogy with Conor McGregor. We have that Nate Diaz fight that hasn't happened. That was always supposed to happen. And he signed off on both of those, saying that he would like to do both of those and that either of them could be his last fight in the UFC. But then, out of nowhere, reported by non-reputable sources, but this is interesting, Dustin Poirier versus Colby Covington, a fight that we were wanting to see a little over maybe 2 years ago, a beef that was intensified by the whole Jorge Masvidal Colby Covington situation. They both trained at American Top Team. They're both rivals. Now, Colby Covington has said a lot of shit about Dustin Poirier's wife. Dustin Poirier has said repeated occasions he doesn't like this guy. Dude's fake. He's two-faced. He's someone he wouldn't fight in the octagon, but he would fight outside the octagon. These are the kind of fights people want to see inside the octagon. That outside of the octagon mentality, if that makes sense. We want to see real emotion, raw emotion, beef. But at the time that it was scheduled to fight, Colby wanted to fight. He called out Dustin, but Dustin didn't want that fight. And I believe this is dating back after Colby Covington beat Jorge Masvidal, that he called out Dustin Poirier, and just right after Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor. So Dustin was kind of slated to be the next title shot contender, while Colby Covington had just lost twice to the champion and was really in no man's land. So Dustin didn't want to give him that edge, didn't want to give him that fight. But now is the time maybe that we make it. This is the last fight. We get a grudge match, something that everyone's interested in, something that you could make probably pay-per-view points off of. And a lot of people want to see Colby Covington get his ass whooped. Again, we have the beef. We have the skill sets. Dustin Poirier was already talking about moving up to 170. He hates cutting weight. This is his last fight. Why should he cut weight for it anyways? And there's just history there. There's a storyline. Now, I don't know which fight I would want to see next between Dustin versus Colby or Dustin versus Nate Diaz, but I think Colby Covington fight is probably more likely, given the fact that Nate Diaz is still kind of outside of the UFC doing his thing, trying to get that money from his last fight with Jorge Masvidal in boxing that the promoter's not paying them millions of dollars. And so I think he's kind of caught up in the courtroom right now. I think as far as Conor McGregor, he's probably going to be fighting Michael Chandler next. So I don't see that happening with Dustin Poirier. If Dustin Poirier truly has one more fight, uno mas, I think it's going to be Colby Covington. Is this serious? Is this real? Is this really what we're going to get? Guys, let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments down below. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel, Nwadei MMA. To all of my new subscribers, thank you guys for joining the family and for supporting the content. I'm always looking to bring you guys great content. Let me know what you want to see next or your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Peace.